we're going to talk about my Florida Gators and the season win total. We did Auburn last week, so we're going to talk the Gators today. The Gators, for the second year in a row, have their lowest season win total in program history. That's where we are with Billy Bob Napier. Year 2 and year 3, at a time where it's easier to retool and rebuild a roster than it's ever been. And let me also point out, right when Napier got there, we opened a $85 to $90 million state-of-the-art football-only facility to attract recruits. And yet all 3 recruiting classes have been below Dan Mullen's 3 recruiting classes. And Dan Mullen got run out of town for, he didn't overachieve in year 4. He got run out of town for his recruiting and getting beaten by Saban and Kirby on the recruiting trail. So anyway, Gators under 5.5 wins, but this year the under is shaded minus 200.
Oh, so, my word! Really?
I mean, they could really have put it at 4.5 or 5.
I mean, don't put it at 5.5 and then give me minus 200.
Right?
I'd rather it be 4.5 because I'm taking the under on each.
Right. Yeah. And then it'll be maybe pick them at 4.5 or maybe still slightly under at minus 120. Yeah. So they're trying to make it impossible to take the under. All right, here we go with the schedule. And by the way, for the over, for those of you who dare take the over, you can get a plus.
Hey, those of you who dare want to take the over, and we're going to break down the games and the schedules, and even much to the chagrin of my man Brian, your money would be better served to just go get some scratch offs at the Tennessee or Florida lottery.
Yeah, but it's a plus 160 return for the over. Okay, so there are 3 winnable games to start the year. The Gators begin at home with Miami, then Samford, and then A&M. Okay, so my first call on these, Jay, and then I'll see what you think of these 3. And I know we kind of last week, or I did, kind of called a coin flip or a swing game, whatever. I'm going to do that in my initial going over the schedule today, but then we're going to circle back and I'm going to actually pick it. So, but right now, I'm going to say that the Miami at Florida, I'm going to call that a swing game or a coin flip for now. I'm going to say a W with Samford, and then I'm going to say another coin flip with A&M at the Swamp. And when we go ahead and just finish September, the next week is at Mississippi State, which is in rebuilding mode. So I'm also going to call that a coin flip for now. For me, through September, because there's an off week the next week, I'm 1-0 for the Gators with 3 coin flips. What say you?
All right. The first thing I'm going to say is August 31st, Miami coming to Florida may be the most interesting game. I'm not saying it's the highest profile game. It may be the most interesting game of the opening weekend because you want to talk about the eternal hot seat bowl. I mean, whichever team walks out of there with an L, both of those coaches are head on a swivel, right?
Yes, 100%.
And so the desperation, there's going to be a whole lot of folks putting a whole lot in all through the offseason into that first game. I think it's a coin flip. I think Miami's better than Florida, so I would lean towards Miami, but I think the desperation for the Gators is staggering. I think Florida just has more dudes than Samford, so that's if the game 2 is certainly a win. Game 3 has to be a win, which is Texas A&M, because Texas A&M has been gutted and is retooling, and at home, that has to be a win. Otherwise, the season could really spiral beyond September, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we could have Spurrier as interim head coach by the time we get to the Tennessee game October 12th. And, hey, wouldn't anybody be happier about it than me?
Well, and you know what? Vegas would turn that from Tennessee minus 12 to Florida minus 2 at Spurrier's on the sideline because that son of a bitch never loses to Tennessee.
Or Georgia. Or Georgia.
Well, which makes me think of the great story about when they told Ray Goff that he was getting inducted into the Georgia-Florida Rivalry Hall of Fame. And he said, well, which side is inducting me? Because he was a great quarterback at Georgia, but he never beat Florida as a coach. So, yes. Yeah.
All right. So what about at Mississippi State for the Gators?
See, I think Mississippi State's going to be pretty good. And
wait, remind me who their quarterback is. Who did they get?
Well, they lost Will Rogers, but they got a transfer dude.
Yeah, I know they got a good one, and I'm
yes, I was pretty upset that he didn't come to Auburn, and the whole Leach thing completely derailed everything that was going on down there. But
you're not talking about Michael Van Buren, the 4-star out of high school. No, you're talking about a veteran, right?
I'm talking about the Baylor quarterback, Blake Shapen.
Oh, right. Yeah. He's pretty good. Okay. Gotcha.
And that place is sneaky tough to play.
Starkville has been a house of horrors for Florida for decades. Now, we don't go there very much. Sometimes we'll go there once a decade, but it has been a house of horrors for us for decades.
When I was in college, we made a point to go to every SEC
road game at one point.
At one point or another. I took an entire fifth of Jack Daniels under my coat into Starkville. And I don't know if they cared or if they noticed. But either way, we're sitting up there and Auburn bludgeoned them because this was – when I was in school at Auburn, it was the late 80s, early 90s. They were pretty doggone good. And
was this before Jackie Sherrill?
Yes.
Okay.
Still the cowbells though. That more cowbell.
Rocky Felk.
That's the more cowbell is not as funny to other SEC fans as it is to like random SNL fans with Will Ferrell going, I think I got a fever. I need more cowbell. And then you're going, no, you really don't. You need less cowbell.
Yes, this is true. All right. Where were we? Oh, you were going to pick that game, right?
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I think it so much hinges on the Miami game because the momentum that could possibly create at home in that moment. I mean, there's a real difference. There's a coin flip in Miami, Florida that could be the difference between 4-0 heading to October and 1-3 and possibly having fired your coach.
Yes. Well, you know what? I think we have to wait to the end of the season for the buyout to go all the way down to 24 million. I think, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe it goes down with like each segment of the season. I'm not positive. All right. Okay. So, off week, UCF at home. I'm going to go. That's a win. I'm going to go at Tennessee as a loss. Kentucky at home. Oh man, that is a tough one. I'm going to call that a coin flip for now. Then an off week, then Georgia, a loss. So that's 1-2. So I've got us 2-2 with 4 coin flips going down the stretch. Here, I'll go ahead and just finish it off because it's just going to be LLL. At Texas, L. LSU at home, L. Ole Miss at home, L. At FSU, L. So I've got 2-6 with 4 coin flips, and then I'm gonna go grade those coin flips here in a minute. All right, go ahead.
All right,
You.
so, all right, I'm not going to flip a coin. I'm going to say, do you trust your quarterback? I know you hate your coach. Do you trust your quarterback?
I do. I think I trust two of them.
Okay. All right, then I'm gonna say Florida starts 4-0, 5-0.
5-7.
Lose to
They lose.
Tennessee. You lose your last 5.
So you got us 5-6 with Kentucky being
Yes.
the
Yes.
swing game,
Yes.
but that determines over or under.
100% does. It 100% does. And that is, I think if we're going to bet it, you've got to bet the under because I'm counting on momentum and not on talent. So I think in a big picture way, 5-7 may be the best Florida can do because that's losing Kentucky at home, which is not, I know, is a horrific thought for longtime Florida football fans, but it also is winning every wishbone game in September.
Yeah, the thing that's going to suck about Florida is our defense is going to suck for the 5th year in a row. Our defense was good like 40 years in a row, and now we're going to suck for a 5th year in a row. That's the part that I don't trust. And the special teams are horrible, and the coaching's horrible.
Well, and to that end, before you give our folks your pick on whether you're going over, under, and why, if you take Vandy out of the equation, is there a coach in the SEC you would not trade Billy Napier for?
Well, I'm not sold on Mississippi State's coach Levy yet, just because I haven't seen him make clock management decisions and all that. So I'm just going to kind of, I'm just going to kind of.
If we take because Vandy's got a new one, and if you take Mississippi State out because we haven't really seen him, but guys who've been there a year or two, is there a coach in the SEC that, and I'll ask you this in the opposite end of the question too, is there a coach in the SEC that school would trade their coach for Billy Napier?
I don't even know if Vandy would. Vandy might, but that's it.
Sam Pittman, maybe.
Okay, yeah, maybe Pittman. I'd rather have Pittman.
Oh, well, I know you would, but I think Arkansas. I mean, goodness knows, Arkansas is looking to break up with everybody. I mean, they hustled Musselman out and then brought in Calipari. I mean, they're probably thinking they're going to fire Pittman and bring in Saban. So
I like me some Sam Pittman. But yeah, no, Napier. Okay. So
right,
no,
I got 5-7, and I'm going to pay the juice. What do you got?
All right, we're going to win one out of the two between Miami and A&M, but we're not winning both. We're going to win one out of those two. So that gets us to 3-7. I'll say we win at Mississippi State. That'll be 4-7. And then that leaves the Kentucky game. It's at home. I'll say very hesitant. I don't know. Kentucky did good in the portal. I'll say hesitantly that we'll win the Kentucky game to go 5-7. I like the under, but I don't lay minus 200 prices. Now, even as I'm saying 5-7, all the books, and certainly it is April. We could get some books at 5 at different prices, or even 4.5, and maybe I'll decide we lose against Kentucky if there is a chance to go under 5, or it'll still be a push. So all I guess I'm really trying to say is don't bet the over.